This video is sponsored by Brilliant.org. More on them later.
We all know sea otters for their chill persona and cuteness, but there was a time in which their fluffiness drove them nearly to extinction. This is the story of how one man saved sea otters from extinction, and how by doing so ensured the healthy existence of one of the most important marine ecosystems on Earth. Besides being cute balls of cuteness, sea otters are important for other reasons. They are what we call keystone species. These are species that keep ecosystems together. Sea otters are a keystone species in kelp forests, one of the most diverse and productive marine ecosystems in the world. Sea otters eat kelp-eating animals, like for example, sea urchins, and by doing so, they help maintain kelp forests healthy. Without sea otters, these ecosystems might suffer serious biodiversity loss and even total destruction. In 2014, kelp forests off the coast of Northern California collapsed. This happened probably due to an unfortunate combination of several events, one of them being a disease that ravaged the sunflower sea stars from the area. Sunflower sea stars and sea otters were the main sea urchin predators in that region, at least until the 19th century, when all sea otters were killed by settlers. This decreased the ecosystem's resilience to adverse conditions, but there was still sunflower sea stars controlling the sea urchin population. But when the sea stars were wiped out by disease in 2013 with no other predators, sea urchin populations exploded and devoured all the kelp. This resulted in the death of countless other species and in the total collapse of these ecosystems. Where there was once a rich and vibrant environment, there was now a desolate field of sea urchins. While unfortunately many kelp forests around the world are in danger of sharing the same fate, we could be living a far worse reality had it not been for one man. To accommodate the increasing demand for fur fashion items by the high society of the time, in the 18th and 19th centuries, hunting fur animals was at its peak. And at the beginning of the 20th century, sea otters were hunted nearly to extinction. And another animal would soon follow the same fate. Tens of thousands of seals were killed annually for their fur in the Alaskan territory. After buying Alaska from Russia in the 19th century, the United States government received substantial royalties from the trade in seal skins, and they wanted to be sure that this bag of money would keep on coming in for as long as possible. So in 1872, they sent an U.S. Treasury Department special agent to the Pribilof Islands. This agent was young artist-naturalist Henry Wood Elliott. He was tasked to oversee the seal harvest conducted by the Alaska Commercial Company, which had been granted an exclusive lease to harvest the seals in the islands. Elliott was to ensure that the ACC didn't harvest more than 100,000 4-year-old bachelor seals per year. As an avid artist, he documented his experience through art and writing, and his paintings became some of the earliest known images of the fur seal harvest in the Pribilof Islands. Shortly after arriving at the islands, he realized that not much was known about this species, so he set upon himself to observe and study the animals. He started writing about how these seals had remarkable social structures and advanced intellectual abilities. He was also the first person to come up with an official population estimate for the total number of fur seals in the Pribilof Islands. He estimated that there were more than 4.5 million fur seals in the islands. This number was probably an overestimation of the real population size. But regardless, 1.5 years later after arriving, Elliott left the Pribilof, happy with the state of things. He thought that with the way the industry was operating and the amount of seals on the island, the population was in no danger of disappearing. But he was wrong. The massive profits fur seal skins earned the US government and the increase in fur prices attracted hunters from other countries to the Pribilof Islands. And that is when the wasteful practice of killing fur seals at sea began. Reports say that sealers retrieved less than 1 seal per every 5 seals shot. And with heavy hunting in both land and sea, the fur seal population of the Pribilof Islands rapidly declined. In 1890, after a 14-year absence, Elliott returned to the islands, and he was shocked by what he saw. The massive numbers of seals that once covered the coast of the Pribilof Islands were nowhere to be seen. He soon found out that population numbers had been declining for years, and that the ACC had difficulties reaching their annual quota. He also decided to visit the rookeries, and saw countless dead seals on the beaches. Mothers, either killed or injured at sea or exhausted from stress, never came back to feed their pups, and eventually they died of starvation. Driven by greed, pelagic fur seal hunting continued increasing, and the hunters were relentless. It is estimated that 3 in every 1 seal was hunted, and the population crashed in 15 years. After witnessing this, Elliott started a controversial 20 years campaign to protect the fur seals, fighting against scientists, businessmen, and governments. He lobbied to stop seal hunting, attended countless Congress meetings, and used his art to bring awareness to what was happening far away from people's eyes. His diligence slowly made this issue more public, and with the help from national journals and the Campfire Clubs of America, in 1911 public outcry resulted in the first ever international agreement addressing conservation concerns, the Fur Seal Treaty of 1911. The treaty prohibited the commercial harvest of fur-bearing animals, which besides seals also included sea otters. A lot has happened since then, but northern fur seal and sea otter populations have partially or completely recovered. Sea otter populations have been recovering since then. However, there is some variation between populations. There are some populations that have a lot of sea otters and others that are still kind of endangered. Despite that, the recovery of sea otter populations over the decades is considered one of the greatest conservation successes ever. This story is a testament to how one person can ignite a fire that will lead to great changes, and that with enough perseverance, eventually things can happen. And I'm sure there were a lot of headaches and a lot of down moments and doubts along the way. But the reality is that without Henry Wood Elliott and the people who supported and helped him along the way, we would probably not have sea otters today. And the remaining kelp forests of the Northern Pacific would probably look very different. If you also want to make a difference in the world, a great way to start is by understanding more of it. And there's no better way to do that than through Brilliant. Brilliant is an online learning platform with thousands of different classes on different scientific topics for all levels of knowledge. If you are interested in just learning the basics of computer sciences or learn data analysis in more depth, Brilliant.org is perfect for you. Since I'm not working on analyzing any data at the moment, but also know it's important for my life and my work, I've been using Brilliant to keep up with data analysis and statistics. It's fun and easy, and even if I only have 10 minutes to spare, it's still enough to learn new things. And they have new classes coming in every month. To try everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/Sea&me or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Don't miss this opportunity. Thank you, Brilliant, for sponsoring today's video. Share this with anyone who you think would like a positive story in their life. This is the last week in which you can sign up to my Indonesia trip, where we will be hiking, snorkeling, and doing a bunch of cool stuff together. Check out the link down below. Thank you very much, Brilliant, for sponsoring today's video, and thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.